Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. You are going to deal with a lot of background noise today because there are two fans and one air conditioner running. And we're going to talk about the air conditioner. That's actually what's on your screen right now and what we're talking about today. All right, so quick note. I'm using a square, 1-to-1 square format for the video. So it doesn't matter if I'm sideways or not. This is not cell phone mode. This is square mode. A lot of people have problems with that and tell me to rotate my camera sideways, but square mode lets me do a lot of things with embedding videos and using other devices, and it actually works out pretty well. I have a lot of problems when I'm trying to rotate videos, right, on my phone because my phone is not a square, but then it'll stay small when you rotate it or even get smaller, and it's really weird. So square mode works really well. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't have a golden ratio. It's not anywhere near 1.5 to 1 or 1.6 to 1, 16:9. It's square. I'm sorry, but I thought I'd tell you because a lot of people comment that I need to turn my phone sideways when I'm in square mode. This is a Out Home. I believe that's the brand I bought. They're all Chinese and they're all random brands, and who knows? Out Home, I think. 5,900 BTU, 400 watt tent camping van life air conditioner. So what are we doing with this on a boat? Well, basically, I didn't want to spend $3,000 on parts to put a fully mounted one in behind a bunch of cabinets and seats where I couldn't fix it if I needed to fix it next year, and so on and so forth. I did not want to just get a window AC. Just so you know, a window AC is perfectly fine. They work wonderfully well if your boat is set up in the fashion that you can mount them properly. I have considered an RV style air conditioner, and we might get one, a small one, as a backup or as a second or something later on. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We were using a pedestal for a short period of time because it got really hot. And you're on AC power when you're at a dock, which is sometimes for us, then the Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever ones are fine to use. Okay, you can use them. They draw a lot of power, and if you're plugged in, no big deal, Just put them on their own 10, 15 amp or 30 amp circuit and run an extension cord and go. That's what we did. This, however, this is 400 watts, and it's theoretically almost 6,000 BTUs instead of 8,000, so it's smaller, much more efficient. Despite the video, it's actually quieter. It is pretty quiet. And it has a bunch of little settings. One thing it will do is it will act as a dehumidifier also. So if you disconnect the air intake, the cold air intake, which I'll show you in a moment, you can run it as a dehumidifier without cooling. There's no cooling function. There's no temperature function when you do that. It's just going to do what it does. It will drop the temperature a little bit theoretically, but there's no thermostat. Right now, this one is set to 72 or something. It's not going to reach that. And that is pretty much what you're dealing with when you're dealing with these. So they're not super great, huge Mondo things. We are on a 29-foot boat with a fairly large main cabin. It's a power boat, so it's a huge main cabin. Lots of dead airspace that's not storage space. Very different from a sailboat. And this is a project we're doing. We want to do some express cruising. So we're doing an express cruiser, turning it into a cruiser. So more storage, more tanks, more water, more cooking ability, much more 12-volt DC power and solar panels. So power boats tend to be designed to operate at a dock or with a 6,000 watt, 10,000 watt generator, or multiple generators. It's crazy when you get into powerboat land. Okay, but you can turn a powerboat into a really good cruiser if you just think a little bit. A lot of trawlers do that very well. A lot of the modern new express pilot house semi-displacement hulls do a really good job of that. Just because the technology has changed so much. See this thing? This is a nominally $450, $500, maybe $600, depends on where you're shopping, air conditioner. It is a fantastic device. It's absolutely great. Now, right now, our outside temperature read is 87 degrees, and our inside is 82.7. With the outside humidity is at 75%, inside is at 60, 68, 67, 66%. So that's what you've got. That's the temperature difference. That seems like not much, a 4-degree difference. However, that temperature reading is on the back wall away from the air conditioner closest to the exhaust. I feel like down here where I'm sitting, we're looking at a solid 76, 78. It feels like I'm in an air-conditioned room. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. Also, the outside read is in a shady, breezy area, so actually just completely ignore that, all right? The phone says that the temperature outside, according to my radar app, is 88 degrees, and right now inside where I'm sitting is probably 78. So that's pretty good effect. Now these air conditioners, if you look, they're made to sit on the ground and blow the air up. Okay? That's not happening here because it's mounted on a shelf. This shelf is made of starboard, and it's held up with strings, and it's just like the basic first iteration of how I'm mounting it. And so it is up high. It's above everything. Okay? It's above your head if you're sitting on the settee. And so the air vent wants to blow the air directly at the roof, which is very inefficient. I've got a little piece of foam taped up there to help redirect it right now. I'm going to make a full set of eyebrows for it. Let's get up here and show you some stuff. All right. In the future, I apologize for the lighting. It's just, there's nothing I can do about the lighting right now. I'm going to use duct tape and cardboard. I'm going to make a whole thing that blows the air slightly downward instead of up. This is the main flow of the air, all the way up here, not down here. So that's going to help a lot. We've had it for a couple days, and sleeping is very comfortable. There's no problems. It does have some funkiness to it. This right here is warm to the touch, and I feel like it could use more insulation. This is your air, outside air in, okay? You would disconnect that if you were doing dehumidifier. And this is your hot exhaust, and it is warm, and it goes out. I traced the screen, the pattern of the screen, onto a piece of cardboard, double layered it, put a bunch of duct tape on it, used it, and just put it in the place of a screen for an opening window, and that's what it's all plumbed to right now. Now these are plastic tubes. They're just plastic. That's what came with it, so there's no foil or insulation or wrap, so you lose a little bit of efficiency there, and you absolutely lose some efficiency there. So these are all things I can fix. Probably we'll get a good 10%, 20%, 10% improvement in performance when I get all of that done. All right, and excuse the mess below the shelf. That's me working on the project. I've finished the project, but I haven't finished cleaning up yet. So it's a really nice device. Like it's really good. It's a unit, right? So as long as you've figured out your exhaust, it's just a unit. The same shelf will hold the diesel heater in the winter, and it's just a different exhaust. It's a unit. Now, I would prefer it if this was made to mount on a ceiling and the airflow was out the bottom and everything like an RV air conditioner, but those tend to be much more expensive, made to mount outside the boat, not inside the boat. There's a whole lot of issues with that we have to talk about, or we have to figure out before I can install one. I think it's worth it. I think this is an absolute wonderful thing. It's twice the price of a pedestal, but it is 2/3 of the size, so it's much smaller. It mounts easily on a shelf. Okay, that is a 12 by 24 inch piece of starboard, so it mounts very easily right there. And it's just, everything's good. Everything about it works really well, and I'm really liking it. So this is like a 2-day review, but you know, one thing that you can do, I need to tighten this up a little bit. Starboard without reinforcements is kind of bendy like plywood. One thing you can do is you can run this outside, and there's a front-facing thing so that you use the same pipes, the same vent pipes, to run all of your stuff in to the boat and have this running outside. Unfortunately, weather is a little iffy when you're on a boat, and I don't want to drive this through a rainstorm or like bow waves. Like you get splashed a lot when you're on a boat, even in relatively calm days, so I don't want to run this outside. There's a possibility I could figure out a way to do it, and we'll talk, we'll look at that over time, but right now it's fantastic. It makes all the difference, and 400 watts means I can run this off of lithium batteries with, my 800 watts of solar and not really have a problem. I can run all my other stuff, so it's kind of a nice thing to think about when you're at anchor or cruising, that you can run this off of battery. I don't know what else to say. This is the lowest tech possible installation, and I did it this way as an initial test on purpose, just to show you. All you need is cardboard, tape, a board, and some rope, and you can do this. You can do this in your boat. You can do this in a sailboat. You can do this in a 26-foot sailboat, okay? This is not hard. It doesn't take up the space of a pedestal. The pedestal mount that we had for the first couple of days, we borrowed. It's not a very good one. It's a very old one. Took up the entire galley. And you just can't, no galley. So this is great. It sits right where it is. If I needed to, I could use the dinette as a mount for it and lose half the dinette. But, kind of nice. One thing it does not do is completely cool the entire boat down below 78 degrees. It's great for the V-berth. It's great for sitting on the couch. If you run the fans right, it'll help you when you're sitting at the dinette. The galley is kind of in the back corner and warm, and there's no venting. There's no central ducting, so you're not getting anything into the head for airflow. I would consider a second one of these, and I am strongly considering a second one, around 4,000, 5,000 BTUs that hopefully takes 350 watts, so that one, I would have something if something broke. I have a friend up the coast a little bit, near Williamsburg, who's on a boat who lost both of his air conditioners because he didn't repair the other one last year, and now this one is gone, and they're the seawater cooling type, and they're just much more difficult to work on, and so now he has a pedestal, and that's helping to cool his boat. But if you have two and one breaks, you can ride out your replacement time or your repair time, right? These are kind of black boxes. I don't know how repairable they actually are. I don't know. I don't like disposable stuff, but that's it. It's a no build, man. You don't have to tear into your boat, add holes to your boat, do crazy stuff with your boat to make this work. And maybe it will only last 3 years instead of 10, but that's, I'd rather have it than look at a $6,000 install and never get it. All right. So we are considering up top. All right. And excuse the shag carpet on the top. That's we're waiting on the insulation to arrive before we tear it out, and we're going to glue up insulation and then headliner. So pardon that, it's nasty. But up on the other side, we'll probably put some sort of overhead unit in. It may be another one of these that I just completely re-engineer so that the air comes out the bottom. I don't know. It might be a small trailer, outside trailer unit that I put into a box so it doesn't get splashed. Don't know yet. This Outhome 5900 BTU, available on AliExpress, Amazon, whatever, all the stuff. Great little simple hack. You don't have to, you can plug it into your inverter. You don't have to wire anything. If you're using a portable power station, you can just use that. That's one of the things about this. You don't have to get too involved in really crazy mechanical and electrical stuff as you turn your cheap express cruiser into a cruiser. So we'll talk more about refrigeration in the next one. We're working on that as well. I apologize for the extreme lack of content recently, but we've been working on the boat and my health. And this channel is not about the Veterans Administration and all the horrors of trying to deal with them. So I just kind of leave that out, That's it. This is a fantastic, wonderful way to cool down the boat during the summer. Stay sideways.